Are we ready to go, Rod? I see you.
Good
You're around.
evening.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's good. It's always good to hear your voice. You've got such a calming effect on me. I needed to hear that today. I had a miserable day. So, how's things, Rod? We got some cool things to share this week, do we?
We do. We've got some killer stuff. We're going to be doing some cool things in our app, and we've got a cool little message for everybody from somebody very cool.
We do, and that's very, very exciting. Now, for those who's joined us, I just want to open up the Q&A because I'll handle the Q&A tonight. For those who's joined us, I'm sitting back tonight. I've completely told Rod to do everything. I just want to do nothing. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I'm sure we all have. So I'll have a look at the Q&A, and Rod's the maestro tonight. So over to you then, Rod.
I suppose so. What do we want to start with?
Whatever you want to start with, you're in charge.
Am I in charge?
You are.
Okay. Not scary at all. Yeah, why don't we do a little bit of news first then? There is something really sweet coming up. October 21st, 22nd, there is the Power Platform Community Conference.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It is. It's a 2-day conference all about Power Platform. Be lots of cool stuff. It's going to be really, really rad. They did the same group did a conference earlier this year that was an absolute blast.
Oh yeah.
So I'm expecting this one to be really killer.
And
so you guys,
we might possibly see you there as well as a speaker, possibly holding thumbs.
And maybe you too, possibly holding thumbs.
Nudge, nudge. I got it.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Yeah, if you have something you wanna speak on, even anybody listening here, do go do that. I know they are looking for sessions on real world examples of how people are using Power Apps. So if you are using a Power App in your business, you can go and also submit a session, and maybe we'll see you on the big stage.
That's exciting. And then everyone must go sign up as well. So not even just for speakers, but if you want to attend the conference, please go check it out and sign up to register.
Sign up to register, yeah. It's one of the nice things, probably the only nice thing about this whole quarantine bit is all of these conferences and that sort of stuff that a lot of the time I think would be geographically located are now being broadcast online, and they're virtual conferences, and we all get to go to them, which is
absolutely
really
so like just on that note, Rod, did you sign up for Ignite? Did you register?
I have, yes.
I was on a call earlier. I'm sure that was NDA, so I can't say the numbers, but they spoke about how many people have registered for Ignite. It's mind-blowing. Okay, it's mind-blowing what's possible when people can join without having to travel there. So it's going to be an incredible conference as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We should see lots of really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's our in the news section. And then we've got our special guest, I suppose you'd call it, that we've been teasing for the last week. This is a very good friend of yours, I understand. Trace, you want to give us an intro?
Absolutely will. So this was also, so remember, Rod and myself and Alistair and Mikey runs the Joburg UG group as well for Office 365, and I'm very excited to have gotten Jeff Tieper, who's the grandfather of SharePoint people, to have given South Africa a shout out and just share some cool SharePoint news, because SharePoint for me is part of everything that's amazing, by the way. So yeah, so Jeff is an incredible person. He's such a hero of mine, and I got him to sign my SharePoint tattoo at some point. It was hilarious, but anyway, so yeah, let's take it away.
Cool. Let's do it.
Hey there, Jeff Tupper from Microsoft, and I am excited to be part of this virtual event with you in South Africa. For those of you who don't know me, I lead the teams responsible for Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, and SharePoint, and I'm happy to give you an update on our progress and some of the things we're working on going forward. So first, let me say a huge thank you to Tracy and Alistair and everybody else being part of the event today for all the amazing work you're doing, sharing roadmap and best practices. You really, truly make this the best community in tech, and I'd love to be there with you in person today and hope to be in the near future, but excited to be here with you virtually via Teams. And of course, as we've seen in the last several months, Teams has been a big part of responding to changes in the world. Everything's gone remote. Education, healthcare, all sorts of businesses of all sizes. It's been hugely disruptive, traumatic, and challenging. And we've been very fortunate that we had so much trust from our partners and customers around the world to helpfully be part of solving business continuity with remote work and education with Microsoft Teams and the rest of Microsoft 365. The approach we take to this is being very much customer driven. We're working with organizations like school systems and police departments and big conglomerates and small startups. And every day we're not only helping, but learning how our products can be better, how our guidance can be better. How can we help people with advice on how to manage your time and well-being? And so again, we would thank everybody for making the bet on Microsoft. We don't take it for granted, and we've learned a lot from it. And hopefully you've seen in our product progress in the last few months that we've responded fairly quickly to the things you've told us. And we've got a lot more coming in the pipeline. I think the thing I want to reiterate about this journey we've been on is it didn't just happen overnight. It's not like we snapped our fingers and the cloud was there for all of us. Many of you, Alistair and Tracy in particular, bet on us from the very early days of SharePoint. And I remember back in 2008 when Bill Gates announced the availability of Microsoft online services at the SharePoint conference. A lot of people thought we were crazy, that not everything was going to move to the cloud. And we said, no, it's economically better. You'll get better experiences, better performance, better security, and so forth. And it took a few years for us to iterate on that and address feedback and work with the market. And in 2011, we launched it as Office 365 and continued to grow fairly rapidly in the cloud. And many of you embraced that during that phase and gave us the feedback that led to a big moment for SharePoint on May 4th, Star Wars Day in 2016, called the Future of SharePoint, where we gave SharePoint a new user experience, a new developer platform, integrated it more deeply with the rest of Microsoft, announced the work we were doing with Power Platform, and foreshadowed some work via groups that we were going to announce the next year in 2017 with Microsoft Teams that brought together chat, calls, meetings, and deep SharePoint connections. And at that point, we announced that in the 6 years we've been around with Microsoft Office 365, we've grown to about 85 million monthly active users. And in the last 3 years, we've grown tremendously. On the third birthday of Teams, we were able to share that we've got over 250 million users of Office 365. In the 4 years that since the Future of SharePoint event, we've grown SharePoint tenfold. So even though SharePoint's been around for a while, it's growing rapidly, and Teams is growing tremendously. So again, our ability to help organizations work remotely is a function of all of you betting on us, giving us feedback for many years, and giving us the capacity to invest at this level. And so we don't take that for granted. And again, thank you for being the best community in tech. So we're moving very quickly, obviously, and a lot of people ask me, you know, how do you describe Office 365, Microsoft 365? Well, Satya talks about it as the world's productivity cloud. We're here to help people in organizations of all sizes around the world achieve more. And leader in SharePoint and Teams, I'm trying to bring these together as a foundation for collaboration in Microsoft 365. So Teams for communication, SharePoint for content, integrated together for end users, developers, and IT. So pretty simple communications plus content. Lots of people make it more complicated than that, but I like to try to make things as simple as possible. So let me go to the next level of detail. Teams is our hub for teamwork. Why? Because people in conversations and meetings tend to spend the most time in it. And therefore, we brought together these things in collaboration from inside and outside Microsoft into this integrated collaboration hub called Microsoft Teams. And Teams has grown incredibly quickly. SharePoint is a core part of our strategy as well. Again, it is intelligent content management. It powers these experiences across Microsoft 365, inside Teams, but inside great websites, inside the browser, on mobile devices, in our Office applications, new applications and experiences like Project Cortex. So again, very complementary, and the content management experiences in SharePoint power those in Teams, but also power great files and website experience as well. Pretty simple how the two relate. And let me show you a couple of the experiences that we're highlighting. The first I'm going to talk about is the work we're doing with Teams. And let's take a look at the overall latest set of Teams announcements we made. Next up is our favorite part of the set of announcements. It's been even used by the National Basketball Association in the United States to power the fans in the NBA games, and that's called Together Mode. So let's show you a little more about what's coming with Together Mode.
Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365. It's one place where people can chat, share files, and work together. But now that video conferences are the new normal, there are times when people need to feel like they're in the same room. That's when you can turn on Together Mode. It puts your team in one shared space. Microsoft AI helps break down barriers, letting you communicate more naturally and feel more for coffee, tea meetings, so everyday get-togethers to important meetings. Be together, even if you're apart.
All right, so that's just a few highlights from Teams. We're doing a lot more there. On the content management side, OneDrive is our hero application to get to all your files in Microsoft 365, wherever they are. Somebody shared them to you. They're on SharePoint sites. They're connected to Teams. You'll be able to get to all those within Microsoft 365, all those files in a seamless experience in OneDrive across all your devices. And one of our favorite new features we're introducing is something called Add to OneDrive, where you can put a shortcut to a site or a folder in OneDrive, and automatically that's remembered across all your devices. And so it's a great way if you're working in a medium to large organization, you've got different locations where you store files, how to get back to them in one place in OneDrive. Another set of work we're doing in content management is, of course, making the SharePoint experience better and better. We've got the SharePoint lookbook, lookbook.microsoft.com, where we put new experiences out there in the last few weeks for employee onboarding, education, leadership connections, and a lot more. These gorgeous SharePoint sites run on the web, run on the phone, and then pull together assets from Stream and Power Apps and Yammer into a place that you can curate and tailor for your organization. And SharePoint will continue to innovate and grow in the browser, but we also want to bring the SharePoint experience more and more seamlessly inside Microsoft Teams. So you see a screenshot of one of the concepts we're working on. You'll hear more about that in the not too distant future. Behind the content management capabilities in SharePoint, we want to make it a lot easier to get these scenarios done with AI. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to help you create great sites. So Project Cortex will help you organize things in topics, and you'll be able to navigate those topics, create a topic wiki, if you will, in SharePoint. And then you'll see those experiences, those topic cards throughout Microsoft 365 applications. That's one way AI is powering SharePoint in the future with Project Cortex. Another is we're going to do a lot of work around workflow automation, where again AI can help with scenarios like contract management and RFPs, where you recognize documents and you train them to extract metadata, as opposed to human beings doing that over and over again. So Project Cortex bringing AI to SharePoint and the rest of Microsoft 365. Another place where we're again sort of taking the core content management capabilities of SharePoint and making them everywhere in SharePoint site standalone applications. Just start new end users lists in SharePoint. You can also do it in Teams and standalone applications. Just like OneDrive is our hero app for files wherever they live. You can go to the list experience and get to all your lists. So if you just want to, it's not in the context of create a quick list, you can go list to do it. So we're really excited, is again a way for us to bring the innovation we've done in SharePoint over the years with a gorgeous new experience and bring it more pervasively to you wherever you work. So there we've highlighted just a few of the new experiences we're doing across Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive and more. I thought I'd talk a little bit about the foundation services, since that's so critical to us, the work we're doing for developers and IT. On the IT side, as you know, we're rolling out data centers around the world. We're helping customers with new performance insights, how to tune their network, concepts like split tunneling, so you're not going over your own corporate network to get to Office 365. Supporting multiple geographies, tenants split around the world. Bring your own key, information barriers, so different parts of the organization that legally can't talk to each other. We help prevent that. Data classification and protection, things like encrypting documents, but still supporting co-authoring on them. Device management, special requirements in education and finance and government we're addressing. Security and governance. Migration, as many of you know, we've got some great tools from us and partners to migrate from on-prem to the cloud, and to migrate from third-party services, things like Box and Dropbox, Google Drive, to Microsoft 365. So great set of investments for IT to manage the service, but also a big set of investments to simplify the development platform. So we're making Teams extensible, where you can put in new tabs and new channel-based conversation types and tabs and bots and so forth. And so a big focus there is people have seen is our focus on extensibility in Teams. But SharePoint continues to grow as a development platform. The way you extend the UI in SharePoint is the SharePoint framework. We just did a big release of that, including the ability to build these sort of gorgeous custom pages in SharePoint. Again, run in the browser and or run inside Microsoft Teams. You'll see more and more work between SPFX and Teams. A lot of other work around the Graph API, tools for developers spanning professional developers in Visual Studio to people building Power Apps very, very quickly. Support for templates and marketplace work so partners can make money building solutions on Microsoft 365. So big focus on all of Microsoft 365, in particular Teams and SharePoint is a development platform. And I really summarize it with this, that we build on a great foundation of Azure, the Microsoft Graph and Information Protection Services, and the Power Platform. And then we have a set of communication services and a set of content management services. And you can use our out-of-box experience for those, but you also can build on all those services as a platform for your custom solutions. So that's it. That's a quick tour of some of the things we're doing. Thank you again so much. Thank you, Tracy and Alistair. It'll be great to see you in person soon, and have a great event. We're thrilled to be able to partner with all of you at Microsoft.
Pretty cool, that dude.
Very.
Hey there,
Whoops.
Jeff Tieper from.
Yeah.
Super cool. He is
He was
amazing.
really double cool. I do apologize for anyone on the call or on the video if there was a bit of bad audio, but how awesome is that we had Jeff Tieper right there chatting to us in South Africa. He's such a cool oak. You should go follow him on all the social media platforms. He's a really nice guy.
He really is amazing. And the thing I love most about that video is the little presenter face before he did the video for the together mode.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, very cute. Well, let's take it away. We've only got like 40 minutes left. We've got some cool demo stuff to do, right?
Yes, we've got a bunch of sweet demo stuff to do and talk about. So let's swap on over. Yeah, I'm in the driver's seat tonight, which is
you are.
a thing. So before we get into that, just a little bit about what Jeff was talking about there, right? He noted the Power Platform as part of this whole thing, and it really is, right? Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, it really is all a part of Office 365, right? It really is a whole. It is a whole in itself, right? They're different tools. Yeah, it's an ecosystem. They're different tools in the same toolbox that we can use. We're using SharePoint as the back end for this app that we've built now, right? Moving forward, we'll probably use Microsoft Lists, which is essentially a SharePoint list, right? Or if we're in Teams, we might use what they were calling Dataflex for 2 minutes, and we'll have a new name come Ignite, I'm sure. So like these are all the same sort of thing. And quickly before, so I think our plan today is we're going to do some more customizations on our app here. But before we get into that, speaking about these apps in a SharePoint context, right? If we might want to, and probably do want to, put links to our apps either in SharePoint or in an email or whatever. I mean, you should never email people things. I hate email, but if we want to link them to the app, how do we do that, and how do we actually find that link, right? Because you can send them to Power Apps, right? You can send them to powerapps.com, and they'll get this screen and they can scroll through and they can find all the different things. Yeah. But if we want to get an actual link to it, right? If we're on our Power Apps page here and we go to one of our apps, there's the little menu, and if we say details, it will give us this web link.
Okay.
So that's not a great link, right? It's a giant GUID and it's ugly, but you can hide it behind some text in a hyperlink. But that's where you find your link. Okay. So that's quite handy. Of course, if you haven't shared it to those people, they're not going to actually see it. But that is where you find it. So I think that's worth having a look at.
Cool.
Okay. Should we get into some customization? Cool. So here's our list here. We're going to be talking about customization. Let's start on our browse screen. There are two things on the screen that I want to do. The first one is we can see we've got a div here, right? In our
it's a multiple line of text, right?
Yes, it's our multiple line of text. A couple different things are happening here, right? One of them is in SharePoint, this is a rich text field, which in the background is actually HTML, right? And you can see our text over here, what it actually looks like. It's HTML text, and that's got a bunch of different stuff in it, which is fine, but it's not displaying nicely for us.
Got it.
So how do we change that? So what this is, if we actually select it here, you can see it's a label, right? Like we've added labels elsewhere, like we added our label up here, right? It's a label for us. A label will display plain text, and then we can use the tools to make it bold and change the colors and whatever, but it's not going to render that coming out of SharePoint because that's in HTML. So how do we deal with that? Well, we can't use this label, so we're going to delete this label out. This is our full description, so we're going to do a different thing with our full description. So I'm just going to delete that out. We can say delete, or you can click delete, right?
Oh, now it's doing those things that always scares me.
Now I've broken it. So this is actually a good point, right? We've broken something here, but it will tell us what's broken.
Yeah.
Right. So if we go to our item checker, it will tell us, oh, we've got 4 formulas that are broken. Basically, it's all the name isn't valid, right? And if we click on it here, it will take us directly to where the problem is, right? So what it's doing is the body of this, the position of the body, the Y value of the position of the body was set based on the subtitle. So now that I've removed the subtitle, it's broken that. But we can just change that. So we can just put in a number, whatever it is, and then our body is no longer in error and we're moving all of that.
So that's why. Okay.
Yeah. So it's trying to reference a control that's no longer there, but it gives us a big as a warning sign, and it's quite easy to find out what's wrong, and then you can take steps to correct it.
Okay.
So our body is we're not actually using it as a body, right? We're using it as the severity of our incident that we've picked, high, medium, low, whatever that case is. So we'll leave that there for the moment. I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but we want to put that full description back into our gallery. So if we select our gallery like this, I'm going to go to the Insert tab, and under the text drop down, there's an HTML text control.
Okay.
Right? The stuff we save in SharePoint is HTML text, so we can put in an HTML text control, and it will pop it up here for us. So we've got our HTML text, and it's got some sample stuff in here for us. We don't want to use any of that. What we want to do is use our full description. So I can say this item dot, and then it'll give me my list of all the different attributes I've got in the data set, and the one we want is full description.
So that's you just referencing the SharePoint field again.
Yeah, so it's this item, right? So on the browse gallery, all our different items, we're getting it from our incident management data source, and then it's got a bunch of filters and stuff in junk, which we will talk about in a future here. So all I'm saying is for this item, right? So for the top one, it's going to be that item. For the bottom one, it's going to be that item, and on and on and on. So for this item, I'm looking for the full description column from that data source. And then it will display it as per the HTML formatting. Right?
Got it.
There are still some issues here. As you can see, the HTML formatting includes stuff like the font size, right? And stuff like that. So we can see on our bottom one here, it's quite large. The font size of that first one is set quite small. And we can't do anything to affect that because it's just going to render that HTML for us. That's all it's going to do. So if you do want control over that, what it's going to look like in your app, if you want control over that in your SharePoint list, then by all means use the rich text, right? Typically, the way I like to do it is if I'm using a SharePoint list for a data source, I just make it plain text.
So the column you
keep
create in SharePoint, you then make a single line of text.
If you want multiple lines, you'll still have to make it multiple lines of text, but you just don't make it rich text.
I see, I've got it.
Because if you don't make it rich text, then it's going to be just plain text, and we're not going to get all the HTML formatting and whatever, and we can just display it in a label, which I think looks a little better. So, tip number 1 of the day.
Cool.
Cool. So that is, if you do have HTML text, that's how you do it. And then again, you'd go in and rename this to as we talked about last time, you should always label all your controls properly. We're not going to do that in this app, basically because I'm lazy.
Shame on you.
Yep, definitely. Something else I want to do in this gallery, right, is we've got this information for severity, right? But that's not something really that I just want to show here. There are more effective ways we can show that information in this screen real estate, right? That's what I like to call it. When you're building an app, that you've only got so much space, especially in this case where we're doing a mobile app, right? Yeah. Like we've got a very small amount of space, so we've got to be really careful about what it is that we actually do. What we display and how we display it. It's at a premium. So instead of putting the severity, I'm going to change this to something else. Let's put it to, what shall we put it to? We've got a date here, don't we? Date of incident. That's probably more useful, right? Okay. So we can have our date of incident there. But we still want to know the severity, right? So how about we give this item a RAG status?
Ooh, I like it.
The way I'm going to do this is we're going to add a label. Labels are one of my favorite things.
Okay.
And I'm going to take all the text out of it. I don't want any text in it. I just want the label itself because it's got a background. I'm going to resize it so that it takes up the full item, right? The full width of our item. And then also I want to move it down, right? So I'm going to center back all the way to the bottom of my gallery. So it's all the way at the back, because if not, it's going to overlay something at the moment.
I've got it.
So this has a full attribute, right, which will tell us what color the fill is. We can change that up here with this fill. So if it's a high severity, right, we might want it to be red, right? If it's medium, we want it yellow. Otherwise, we want it green. So I'm just going to rename this rag so we know what we're talking about. And then we can do an if statement on this. So instead of the fill being just red, let's I'm going to take let's decide on our colors. We're going to have red. We'll also have a green, right? And what I'm doing is I'm just going through it. I'm copying out these RGBA codes into a little notepad. And so low will be green, although we probably don't want green, but we'll say green. And then we'll have a yellow, right? Red, green, and yellow. So, what am I doing here?
Well, you can be glad it wasn't me.
Okay, so then we're going to do an if statement. So we're going to say if this item, right, dot severity dot value. So one interesting thing to note here, right, is the severity is a drop down. It's not just a piece of text.
Yes.
So you have to look at the severity dot value. It's a little weird, and that's going to give you the actual text of that. So if that is equal to, what do we say, high, I think it was. So that's our logical test. Then we want to make it red. So I'm just going to copy out my RGBA code there. We'll make that red, and if we close that, it'll now make that one red.
Okay.
We'll have to put an else value in, or else it's just blank, and that gives you this horrible blackness you see in the bottom one there. But I can't remember what our other ones are. I also can't remember what my data source is, right? Where that is. So there's quite an easy way to get to it, right? So I want to go to my data source and check what those values are.
So they got to be
under my data tab. Yeah, under my data tab, if I come down here, I can see here's my incident management list. And if I go and say edit data, it's going to pop out a new window for me and take me to that data.
Oh, that's
in
perfect.
this case, it's taking me to SharePoint and our SharePoint list. And once I'm there, I can then edit the lists. Where do you get the list settings these days? List settings, there we go.
Yeah, that's changed.
Shows you how long it's been since I did a bunch of SharePoint work.
But
and then I can go here. If it's not high, then I'm going to, so now I need my else value, but I've still got I've got 3, right? Yeah. I don't just have that, so I'll put in a nested if statement. So you can do nested if statements. So then in that case, I'm going to say if this item dot severity dot value equals.
So glad I have a video I can go back to.
Medium, right? So then what's the true value if it's medium? We want our orange color. We can do that. And then we've got, if I just do another comma, it'll ask us for our else value. And else value for us will be green. So I can put my green one in there, if I can paste it correctly, and then I just need to close off. One nice thing to note here, right? I've closed that bracket, and you can see it's highlighted that bracket. It's also highlighted this one. So whenever you put in a bracket, it will show you what series of brackets it's closing, which is really, really handy, because whenever you're doing this sort of thing, brackets are the bane of your existence. Yeah. Because if you miss a bracket, it's not going to work. So I can see that's closing there. I still have another one I need to close up here, so I can just put in another one.
There we go.
And then it does that.
Sweet.
And so we can do a nice little rag status in that based on our thing.
Sweet.
When we are like, this is a pretty complicated, I mean, it's not a super complicated, but it's more complicated than
super complicated
before. It's a nested if. Something that might help us is it has this format text button, and if we click it, only problem with this is it's doing our rag statuses too. So sometimes you do need to tell it like, what are you doing, Jono? And this can help you just visualize what's going on in your formulas. I find this really, really handy. Once you get used to sort of how it's supposed to look, it really does help. So I'm just going to fix this up a little bit. It can be a little wonky at times, mostly with just the RGBA codes, but we'll see what this is telling us, right? And that makes a bit more sense than it did before, right?
Yeah.
So
Done.
if this item is high, then make it this. Otherwise, if the item is medium, then make it this. If it's neither of those, then make it that.
Got it.
Right. So it can help you build it out like that. See, this is going to take a little while to catch up to what it's actually doing there. So happy days, we can do a rag status as well.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Okay, so if we go through to our view form, right, our view item details page.
What button did you keep using to actually press real live?
That is Alt. If you hold down Alt, it will do that. Again, like as we talked about last time, if you push the play button, you can click through that too as well. That is I usually use the play button or F5. So it can do some funny things when you're holding down Alt. It can get stuck in Alt, and then you can't select anything. And then you can just mash Alt a few more times, and and it'll do that for us.
As with IT, that always helps.
Yeah. So we had to change the full description on our previous page, right? And now this screen has a form, right? So it's not the same as in our gallery where we just have our controls. In here we have a form with different data cards, but you can do the exact same thing, right? Our data card value 3 here is the same thing, right? It's just a label. So in the same way as we did the last one, we can change this. The difference is we're not going to say this item dot we're not going to say this item dot selected value dot value, because it's not a this item. There is only one item in this form.
Got it. Because on the previous screen it's actually referenced multiple items. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, it's doing multiple items. This one's only doing one item.
Okay.
And if we have a look at that data card and have a look at what it's referencing the parent. So the parent is always just one step above in the tree, right? So the parent of this data card is the full description data card. The parent of this full description data card is the detail form itself. So if we have a look at the default of this, you can see it's this item dot full description. Okay. Because there is an item here. So we can take this data card value, this little you can just delete that out. We have to unlock it, right? So because this is built by default and we've got this form here, if you have a look on the advanced tab, we've got this unlock to change properties. Okay. And I'm trying to click here. I can't actually click and change anything here because this is locked down. It's locked to say this is the full description data card. You're not allowed to do anything with it. I can either come over here and unlock it to start customizing these, or I can come down here and unlock it here. So I'm going to unlock this. And now I can start messing with it, and I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to insert a HTML text again. Let's extend it out a bit. Make that a bit larger again. Make that a bit larger again. And in the same way, we can say parent dot. And then as soon as that updates to decide what it's doing, it will then put that in, and you can see we get that same HTML right there.
I'm starting to understand why you prefer building them from scratch.
Yes, like absolutely. There's a lot of stuff in here that is very cool, but it is also sort of a pain. I like doing it myself, so you get a bit more out of that.
Okay.
We've got the severity here. In the same way that we did the rag status on the gallery, we could put the rag status here. I don't think that's particularly meaningful for us to show again. We'll talk about these delete and edits and whatever, I think, at a future time. When we get into our custom one, which we'll do. I'm just going to go through to our edit page, and we can do the same thing here. Unfortunately, right? This full description here, we can't really mess with, because this is not a label that we can delete and re-add. This is a text control. You can see the little icon is a bit different. That's what a text control looks like. And the text we're editing is actually that HTML text.
I see.
So if you want, if you do want people to be editing the text that you're showing, you can't have it as that rich text. Actually, we probably can put in a rich text editor. Again, we need to unlock it, right? So it's locked in the same way as the other one was. But if you try add it in, as we saw here, you can say unlock and add, and then it'll add that in for us. I'm just going to shift that down, and the default we will again say parent default. As soon as that updates, then we have it. So you can put in a rich text editor instead of the normal text editor, right?
Okay.
Because this is an action here, and then we can delete that one out. Although that's going to break things. Let's bring that out. So this is actually doing a couple more things than just displaying information. So it's got some additional stuff that it's doing. On change it's false. Is it false? Yeah, good. So we can delete that out, and then again we'll see some of the stuff is going to. So yeah, the update value on the data card. That's quite important. So if you're dealing with an actual form, you're going to be submitting the form, right? So what Power Apps needs from you is, what is it updating, right? Now that we've removed that one, what is it actually going to write back when I say, okay, send the form? It's expecting that data card 8.txt, but that doesn't exist anymore. So instead we have to change that to rich text editor 1 dot HTML text.
Sure.
So again, this is one of the reasons why
Got it.
I don't like doing that.
That's you making
and the error message again. Yeah, that error message again is just complaining because the spacing of it was.
So here's my question. Okay, so I mean, I don't build in other environments. I don't build other databases and things. I use SharePoint. That's what I do, right? So would you say build the list in SharePoint and then come build a blank canvas and then point it to those fields?
That is what I do. If you want to use SharePoint as the data source, I think that's the way you want to do it.
Okay.
There are some tips and tricks on how you do that, right?
Well, we're definitely going to cover that in the next one.
We will absolutely cover that in the next one. So just the brief thing is do everything plain text. I typically put everything either as a single line of text or a multiple line of text.
And then you change it on the.
What I'm putting into there, I do in the Power App, which will.
Got it. We kind of did the same with Nintex and even InfoPath. I kind of remember things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want, typically when you're designing stuff, you want the most control. You want all the control in one place. Yeah. Right? You don't want some of the stuff you're controlling here and some of the stuff controlling there, it just gets complicated. But if you are doing it this way, you can edit it, right? We've seen that we can change what controls do. On the forms, you just have to be careful that you're making sure that the update attribute on your data cards is updated to whatever control you've changed it to, if you are using forms. The last thing I want to show you is if we want to change colors, right? We've got a corporate identity, and I want to have my app conform to the corporate identity. At the moment, a real pain, right? So we've got this nice purple background.
You're being sarcastic, but I'll forgive you.
No, I like purple. Purple's great.
Okay.
But what if our company now decides, oh, you know, actually we're just not a purple company, right? Actually, we've been bought out by a bunch of accountants. Apologies to any accountants there, and actually we're a grey company.
I love grey. Hey, most of my house is grey, believe it or not.
My entire wardrobe is either black or grey. So we can change that there. The problem is now, if I go to the details screen, that's still purple. The edit screen, that's still purple.
And
right?
all
Because
that
we copy pasted that, and all the buttons are blue and all of that. So it's really a pain to go change things. So how do we deal with that? Where if we know we're going to be changing color schemes, how do we do it? Set something once that we can change that has a roll-on effect to everything else. And the way we're going to do that is with a variable. So
you reference it.
Yeah, and then we'll reference the variable. So you could set the variable a number of different places. Yeah, there is this app one here, which has an onStart property. Whatever you put in the onStart property will run when the app starts. Okay. Right? Similarly, on the screens, they have an onHidden and an onVisible property.
Okay, when it loads.
When it loads, which when that screen becomes visible, it will load.
Okay.
I'm going to put this in the app onStart, and it's quite easy to put it in. Shall we stick with the grey, or do we want to pick a different color?
I'm happy with grey.
Let's do grey. I promise everybody will have some more vibrant colors in the one we make us. I'm not going to make it all black and white, however much I'd love to. So in the onStart, we want to set a variable, and it's pretty easy. You say set, and then we're going to open our brackets. And again, the formula bar will tell you what you're trying to accomplish. So set the variable and then the value. So this is a global variable, so we're going to give it a name. You typically want to name things descriptively. Yeah, I like to put var in the front of all my variables, so I know what I'm dealing with. I also was
taught that way.
So I'm going to say var color. Let's call it var banner. And later on, like in a further one, I'll show you a more effective way to do this, but this is just an example of variables. And then we need to put in a value. So I'm going to put in our gray color, which I'm just pasting out there. And then I can close those brackets, and now that will run and set that color. One of the really nice things about Power Apps that you don't get if you're doing proper code is that Power Apps is really smart, and it will deal with all the typing for you, right? What I mean by typing is there are different types of information, right? This one we're putting in is a color. It could be a number, it could be text, it could be a picture, it could be a table, it could be an object, right? It could be all of these different things. And if you're actually typing code yourself, you need to make sure that when you're declaring your variables, you make sure you type them and you get that all correct. Power Apps will just do that for you. You can just shove whatever you want into a variable, and the system will take care of all the typing for you, which is really nice. So now that I've got that there, I do need to trigger this somehow. I'm not actually running the app. So next to the app here on the menu, there's a little button for Run on Start. which will run everything that is the on start.
Okay.
So now I have my var banner, and I can change the, instead of that, I can change the fill to var.
And you just
banner,
reference it.
and then I'm just referencing that. Right, and I can go to my details screen, and I can choose my rectangle there, and I'll have my all to var banner. And I can do the same thing on the edit screen.
That's much easier. That's quite a big help.
Yeah, I mean, the first time you do it is kind of a pain, right? So I'm still going through and changing everything to var banner.
But it's easier.
Right. But now that I've got that set up, right, I can then go to here, and maybe we want to change it to blue. And I can just
got it.
Right, change that to blue, and then when I run the on start, automatically makes it that nice blue for us.
That's pretty cool.
Which is really nice.
That is very, very cool.
And you can do that color changing on everything, right?
Yeah.
On this drop down, for instance, there are attributes for all of the different stuff. So there's a border color that we could change to, and I know we're running out of time quickly, so I'll just, again, I need to unlock all of these things. Change that to var banner, right, and that's probably the worst one. So there's the chevron full, which we can change to var banner, is probably a better way to display it, and then that's the actual little chevron there, full, so you can, so every little piece of a control you can change the color to.
And then you just change the variable. That's pretty cool, I must admit.
You change the variable up here.
This whole hour, that was my winner chicken dinner for sure.
And in a later
webinar.
In a later webinar that we're going to do, I'll show you a nice way to do that, where you can make an object. Just like all of these controls are objects, where you say drop down dot text, right? Drop down dot value. We can have a UI dot button dot color.
Okay.
And build all that up and then reference it like that, which makes it nice.
That's pretty cool. Sweet. You better go save that thing, because I'm going to play around with this. You know this. So you
that is a very good idea. So save early, save often. The game is mantra. I think every webinar we do will end with this screen. Well, not end, but we'll have the screen where we say save and publish.
Definitely. That was pretty cool, Rod. I don't know if you want to maybe, I was just going to say maybe just end off. So definitely want to just bring your attention again to some rock stars there. We're going to keep on adding to this slide as well, you know, as we come across more resources, and I'm sure I've missed out a couple, and Rod's going to share some with me as well. So so that's just on YouTube, of course. All of us, we kind of like learned most of what we know from there, right? And
yeah, it is the way to do it.
It's absolutely the way to do it. And then, of course, I think I just had some Facebook groups there. But and if anyone watches this and they have some resources that they want to share, please just reply, leave a comment on the video on YouTube, and we'll be sure to add those to cool people to follow. There's some incredible people out there. We can't always know everyone. So I think that's all my mumbling from me, right? Anything you want to? That was great, by the way. That variable is the winner. That's the winner for me on this session, for sure.
Yeah, variables are very, very useful, and we're going to be using them a bunch in the more complicated things we do in the future. Right?
Absolutely.
This is going to be a zero to hero. Takes a little while, but it's really, it doesn't take that long.
And you know what I'm really liking, Broadcast, to finish off with, but I speak very fast, and I'm like very hyperactive. I mean, I rush through things. It's just who I am and what I do, okay? But this is so good for me that I'm doing this with you, because you're just a bit more paced and you don't crazily rush into things, which helps me to understand things better as well. So of course, with with Power Apps, I think that can be very valuable for everyone else that's watching, you know. So
yeah, I do think so. Like there's a lot, right? Power Apps is a lot. So it's not that complicated as long as you chunk it up.
But yeah, this is helping me. I'm learning lots. I mean, that's absolutely the idea of this, but also for us to share this with you. So I hope that everyone enjoyed the session. For those watching it afterwards, of course, we always do record, and you will find it on the recording. And then thank you from my side, Rod. I really enjoyed that.
No, thanks. Thanks to you, Trace, and thanks for everybody watching. It's great hanging out with all of you.
Thank you very, very much, Rod. We'll catch up next week, same time, hey?
Yep, same bad time, same bad place.